Hello everyone, this is White Wolf. Thank you for coming on to the feed, and I wanted to talk about bringing everything to the light, bringing everything to the surface, allowing yourself to be true to yourself and to not suppress your desires or your happiness or maybe some inspirations that come through or things that you're just very passionate about. Allow yourself to bring everything to the light, even if there's personality traits about yourself that you don't like. Allow yourself to face those personality traits, to face your ego, to face our vanity, to just allow ourselves to bring everything to the surface so that we're not hiding anymore. So we shouldn't hide all the things that make us beautiful. We shouldn't suppress all the things that make us creative. We shouldn't suppress our inner child so that we have a lack of imagination. So when we allow ourselves to have the inner child and imagination and bringing everything to the surface, it allows us to be led with our heart and allows us to be really real with ourselves and to have a direct line to that creator that wants to become us, that higher self that wants to be us, and also vice versa. So it's a two-way street with the higher self, with the divine, with God's source energy. So when you allow everything to come to the light, you're bringing everything to the surface because everything that is not the light will always come to the surface. It'll allow itself to be reciprocated, but it also will allow itself to integrate, to heal, to fluctuate, but it also will allow you to calibrate. It'll allow you to balance yourself. It'll allow you to carry yourself in a way of dignity, integrity, honor, dedication, faith, and also to be able to shoot everyone straight that are your recipients. So if you're like conducting a retreat, you're able to be at that high resonance and you're able to directly know what everybody needs at that specific time. So you allow yourself to be a non-dual awareness and independent awareness, but it allows you to understand that by bringing everything to the light, bringing everything to the surface, you're allowing everything to be healed, to be integrated, to be in the light completely. So it allows the distortion or the shadow or the ego to allow itself to have a death so that there is a resurgence, so that there is a recalibration of not only every past lifetime, but every personality trait that you have. It allows everything to be more smoother. It allows you to be evenly distributed with your energy. You allow yourself to bring everything out so that you're not hiding anymore because you are shining. You're allowing yourself to hold your head up high. You carry yourself in a different way. You have a way of compassion where it's not a sense of pity. It's not a sense of enabling. It's a sense of enabling people to be the best that they can be at any given moment. We allow ourselves to enter a state of awareness that we can bring forth that energy, bring forth that sacred flame, so that we can pass the torch on to many other seeds that are being generated on this earth plane, which are star seeds, which we allow ourselves to plant many seeds, which are particles that accelerate, and then those particles accelerate into a big ball of energy. We allow ourselves to be psychic atomic energy. We allow ourselves to be an electromagnetic kinetic source energy. So we allow that energy to be the frequency, to be interconnected, and we allow it to be its own wavelength. So by bringing everything to the light, bringing everything that you don't like about your life to the light, like being not prosperous. Maybe you want to write poetry, but you're a little scared to do it. Or you're scared of how people may view it. Or you're afraid to talk about spirituality with your family because you feel like they're going to label you the black sheep of the family. So it's like when you bring everything to the light, you will have a way about you that you will just not give a fuck because you will go where the current is taking you. You will go where you're needed. You will go where it brings you the most happiness and success and fulfillment. And this means of letting go of being in two places at once. So this is when humanity turns into ascension, but that humanity and that ascension is being grounded to the point where we bring everything to the surface so that we're there. So we're there with that energy. So it's not about meditating and then coming back to the earth and then like, oh, it's over, it's done, the party's over. No, the party has just begun. The journey has just begun. The journey is never ending and the journey is infinite. So every day needs to be the life of the party. And are you going to show up to your life as if you're meant to be there as the leader of the party, as the host of the party, as the person who's throwing a party? Your whole life has to be a party. So that means that there's celebration, that there's new seasons, that there's not really waiting anymore. You're not waiting for anything because you're in the absence of time. So that means you're seeing through the illusion of time and you're seeing through the illusion of physicality. You're seeing through the veils of amnesia that people are experiencing all day long, where it's not, I have to prove something to the world. I have to win. Oh, if I lose, then I'm going to have a bad day. If I don't win on a lottery ticket, then I'm going to have a bad day. When you don't have to have that happen at all. You don't really need to have that happen to you. So that was my opening to this live feed. Also, you can book private sessions with me, psychic readings, healings, activation codes, downloads. Also, there will be a meditation at the end of this live when I get done with the discussion. And also, just thank you for being here. Thank you for the likes. Also, feel free to share out. Feel free to donate. And what I've been feeling is that everything is coming to the light. A lot of people are having a mass awakening, but also people are realizing that they're able to play with reality, that they're able to have fun with their gifts, that they're able to be accepted for who they are and what they actually are in the light that they're represented in. So you're able to do things that some prophets, some light workers, some starseeds were never going to be able to do, and they had to live as that representation so that you could be here today. And it's very honorable to understanding the very fact that nobody has to be a person, because we are not limited to the fact that we are people, but we're enunciating and accentuating the fact that we are the creator beings. So you have to bring everything to the surface so that there is exposure, so that you're aware of everything at all times, but also at the same time, you're allowing everything to be encompassed within that light, so that if there is dark and light energy, that they're able to come together into a greater union. Because you can't negate your dark side. We all have things about ourselves. We all have thoughts. We all have triggers. We all have ways that we get angry, or maybe people are manipulating each other all day. And I was watching a show called Physical 100, and all these people and all these like rugby players, you know, bodybuilders, people who climb mountains and stuff. And then they were faced with certain tasks that they had to face their ego and face like, okay, they're maybe skilled in one way. They're skilled in one way, but it doesn't mean that they're skilled in another sense. Because if you can be physically strong and mentally strong and metaphysically strong, then you have it down packed. You have it in the bag. So I see that a person is asking a question, and I understand that you're asking a question or you're being facetious or whatever. I just book a private session, or if you're being serious or not, just do that. But it's understanding that what you're meant for is where you're going to succeed. You can have your hand in many different things, but what God has anointed you and appointed you for is what is going to be the blessing. So it's just about keep doing what you're doing, have consistent repetition, also have a consistent way about how you meditate, and also have consistent discernment of your own choices, of your own free will, and giving yourself the will and the power and the empowerment to do things. So we don't have to prove others wrong. We don't have to fight for justice. We don't have to feel like we're in a tug of war or that we're in a battle. but there is a coming together. There is a cohesion to creation. There's a cohesiveness of creating and meditating and healing and learning how to live in that bliss, in that ecstasy. And sometimes in life, we're faced with many things that always test us if we're going to get triggered, if we're going to get angry, if we're going to be late, if we are going to live up or just not follow the breadcrumb trail of excitement. Are we willing to have that faith to step out in faith? Are we actually going to do it? Because we can talk about it all that we would like, but doing it and implementing it is a much different thing. The only way that is going to happen is that you have to almost force yourself to do it and just allow yourself to receive, allow yourself to learn, allow yourself in the ascended master within you to train you. I think it's not always just about training, and I don't think it's always about being the most popular, but I just think it's about being the most sincere, being the most truthful, and leading with your heart so that it aligns with the mind. And then you have that mind, body, spirit complex that allows you to create within your own inner vortex, so that your external vortex, you're able to place things within there to where it sends the signals. It allows the wires to have a correct circuitry, because the wires have been crossed for so many years, for so long as you've been alive, as many times as you've incarnated here. So now the wires have a correct circuitry. It's connecting. There's a good internet connection. The Wi-Fi is good. You have the Wi-Fi password. And with that analogy, meanings that you have the keys to your destiny. You have everything at your disposal to know that everything is rigged in your favor. Because that is how you manifest. That is how you subtract. That is how you add in your life. And that's also how you implement in a way to where you become a magnetic force of not only drawing things to you, but sending things out. So sometimes it's about what you're sending out, what you're projecting out into the universe, what you're sending. So are you sending the right signals? Are you sending the right messages? And I'm not saying that you're going to be perfect, and I'm not saying that you're just going to get it right all the time. And it's not about getting it right, because there is no right or wrong. There is no agree to disagree. There is no being opinionated about anything. But it's being aligned to truth. It's aligning yourself to that cohesiveness of resonance, and also that cohesiveness of allowing yourself to bring everything to the surface. Because if you bring your distortion to the surface, it will allow you to face your distortion. If you're not willing to accept yourself, you're bringing yourself out into the open to be accepted and to finally learn the lesson behind the catalyst that you are experiencing. Maybe if it is a circumstance, maybe if it's a manifestation technique that you've been doing for a long time, and it just doesn't seem like it's working, and then you stop doing it, and then something happened that reinforced that wasn't true at all. It is working. It's just a day by day. It's a process. And I think it's about trusting the process to the point where it's not negating the process. Because we can negate, we can pout, we can cry, all that we'd like. And I think it's just about being active, consistent, persistence, so that you're generating non-resistance. So the divine will assist you in any way that you want to be assisted with. But I think it's about asking the right questions. Do you truthfully believe that it's going to happen? And are you able to receive the blessing yourself? Because you can't just say ask, believe, and receive, and just expect something's just going to come in and happen for you. But do you really want to ask those tough questions? Do you want to ask about like maybe vanity? Do you want to ask about ego? Do you want to ask about a past lifetime where you were something that was just mucky and yucky and gross? Are you willing to ask those questions? Are you willing to just, explore your gifting? Because there's a lot of people on this earth that are able to do soul retrievals, that they're able to go into past lifetimes. Are you willing to, do the hot sauna? Are you willing to explore your horizons with your gifting, with your psychic gifting? I have no problem saying that, because a lot of people say, that psychic or God or talking about this is just woo-woo. And yes, it is woo-woo, but it's the good woo-woo. It's the great stuff. It's the stuff that money cannot buy. So if you bring everything out into the surface, you're not hiding anymore. You're not suppressing anymore. But you're also allowing yourself to initiate the act of healing, of truth, of realization. And then you act on those realizations. And then you act on, how do I implement it? Who do I contact? What do I do for this thing? Do I really start writing poetry? Do I starting my music career? And do I audition for that role? And I'm saying everything general because I know there's some people in this feed right now. And if you're watching on other platforms, I go live on TikTok. I'm speaking to certain people because maybe that's something that you need to do. Maybe you've been afraid to do it. Maybe you were fearful to do it. Because sometimes the doubt, the negativity, the fear, and then it generates inauthenticity. And then it becomes inauthentic. And then you're not allowing yourself to empower yourself to say what is true or do what is true or do what you actually need to do. And then you do something opposite of that, and then it doesn't allow you to receive, to open up, to envision what more that you want. I just think it's about being bold. I think it's about making bold choices, but I also know that God's source energy favors the bold. If you're bold enough, if you're courageous enough, if you just absolutely do not give a fuck, everything that you want in your life will happen for you. But you have to be non-attached. You have to be aware. You have to have the ability to ask, to receive, and also to the point where you believe it, but also to the point where you absolutely know it. I think that's what's important. You got to know it. You got to know it in your heart. You got to know it in your heart to be absolutely sure that you can justify why you're not doing those things. So also feel free to share out, feel free to donate. Also, I appreciate 1,000 likes. Thank you so much for that person who liked the live. And also you can book private sessions. I have payment links in the bottom. It's just $60 for an hour. Also, there will be a meditation as well. And I'm checking to see if my guides want me to say anything. So it's like, if you want to explore the hidden realms, if you want to explore angels, spirituality should be something that you explore, not something that annoys you. It might annoy you. It might anger you. It might trigger you, but do you think God loves you less because that happens? No. No. I'm here to tell you that's false. If anybody tells you that, that's a spirit of judgment and condemnation, and also ego and vanity, because there's a lot of people in the spiritual community that if you're not just like a green freak, or if you don't do this certain certification or healing, or don't do this and don't do that, or just follow one teacher, to the point where you're just giving your credence and your power and your ceiling to that teacher or person. Don't just take my word for it. If this resonates for you and it empowers you to do it, God bless you. But don't just take my word for it. Look yourself in a mirror and say, I'm going to roll with it. I'm going to trust my instincts. I'm going to trust my resonance. I'm going to trust my charge. I'm going to trust the forward-moving motion of longevity. And I'm going to explore the essence of source energy. So, I just don't think it's like, I believe that teachers are great. I believe mentors are great. Okay? I'm being careful about how I'm saying this, because I don't want to sway people from having a teacher or getting an appointment from a psychic, because you need to talk to a bunch of people. You need to seek that out, because that's the seeking impulse. But allow your seeking impulse to be of your own nature. Allow your seeking impulse to be pure. Allow your seeking impulse not to be toxic either. You can't whip yourself on the back and be of a high resonance. That's not how it works, I don't think. You can't just be like, oh, if I scrape my knees and whip my back, then God's going to love me more. I don't think that doesn't seem like graceful. I believe God's source energy and the higher self always does everything by anointing, everything by grace, everything for a reason, everything in a truthful reason, and also just to generate a perfected reflection so that we can become the effortless perfection of that higher self. They give us things that kind of blow up in our face, and we're like, oh fuck, that was kind of an ouchie. That was kind of like a slap to the face, like but it's the most loving. But it's not like, it's kind of like your mom and dad kind of giving you a slap on the wrist, but it's graceful. And then, once the healing and the integration and the exhalation of distortion, of shadow, of ego, of vanity, of lies and deceit and manipulation, and also just limiting beliefs, when that is exit out of you. So we don't really, and it's just about, if you want to be a good Muslim, be a great Muslim. If you want to be a Christian, there's nothing wrong with that. If you want to be a good psychic, go be that. But don't offer yourself a ceiling and just stay at that point. Maybe you'll be a psychic and maybe turn into a Muslim. Maybe you'll be a psychic and be a pastor one day. God has many avenues for us, so that there's always something new and there's always something to embark on. There's always something else to explore. I came from the church. I went to a church myself with my buddy, and I was baptized, and I had moments where, where I fell on my sword, in a sense, and I experienced God's source energy and the bliss and the ecstasy and the tears rolling down my face. But it was just an initiation. It was a form of an initiation to get me to this point. And it was funny because I saw 3 kids, and I was listening to music, and I would have this emotion come over me. And this is the last story, and then we'll do a meditation. I saw these 2 kids go to the back of the church, in a sense. So I went back there, and I followed them, and I used to get this like sense of emotion, like come over me when I would listen to the songs, and I didn't know what it was. And I know that it was the flow of God's source energy. I know it was a Holy Spirited flow of God's source energy. And then I followed those kids, and then I heard those kids were getting baptized, and then I saw this mirror, and I looked at myself, but it was like I was looking at myself in a different way, that there could be grace, that there could be a change, a shift, that I felt this euphoric feeling come all over me, and it felt like this bliss and this ecstasy and this truth came over me. But that wasn't the end-all be-all of that, and I wasn't supposed to be like a pastor or a Christian and things of that nature. And it was just a beautiful moment of just seeing that was a pivotal moment so that I could awaken to my psychic abilities, my gifts, and meeting my girlfriend, and moving out of my parents' house, and also quitting my job where I had to, work 12 days straight, and I, hated it. I hated it at the time, because it was wearing on me because I worked there for 3 years, and it was just something I had to do. And we just have to understand that things happen in our life to kind of see, this is the next step, this is the next pivotal moment, this is the next paradigm, this is the next shift in your reality. And then it's 4 quantum leaps. It's just quantum leaps, quantum leaps, quantum leaps. So, yeah. Okay, we're going to do a meditation. Also, thank you guys for the 2,000 likes. I appreciate it. Feel free to share out. Also, you can book a private session for $60 for an hour. And also, let's see if my guides want anything else. No. Okay. So, we allow ourselves to be vulnerable. We allow ourselves to let go. And we allow ourselves to allow everything to come to the surface, so that we can have a renewal, that we can have redemption, that it can be a new day that we can embark upon and shift into another parallel timeline, a reality, a different personality, different traits about ourselves that become our gifts, that we have a recalibration of our chakras, that we tap into the energy of abundance, of creation, of that inner child that wants to know you again, of that divine feminine that allows us to show non-attachment, compassion, love, sensitivity, and then that divine masculine comes in to show us confidence, courage, fearlessness, structure, and strength, and faith. And then we allow ourselves to have that Kundalini energy to bring everything to the surface. Meaning that we have a renewed heart, a different frame of mind, a way that we think, a way that we react, and then we're now proactive, the way our body feels, the way that we use affirmations, which turns into declarations. And then the truth dawns on you. The healing rush of energy swirls around and encapsulates the vessel that is you. And it allows you to see that you don't have to be manipulated anymore, that you don't have to live in lies anymore, that you don't have to deceive yourself in your own delusions or illusions that you assume yourself to be. If you have an idea, bank on that idea. Go with that idea. If you want to play an instrument, if you want to do poetry, if you want to be an actor, an inventor, whatever you want to be, it's like when you were a kid and they asked you, what do you want to be when you grow up? But I'm asking you that now, as maybe an adult, maybe as a person who's young, old, middle-aged. It doesn't matter, because we're not looking at that number. We're not looking at ourselves as a category. We're not looking at ourselves as an analogy, as a concept. But we're looking at ourselves as just energy. Look at yourself as the light, because you brought everything to the surface. What you don't like, what makes you triggered, what makes you angry, what makes you sad or anxious, or all the things that aren't manifesting now. all the toxic energies from your past lifetimes, the unwillingness to receive, the fearfulness before you do something. And just throw that all away, because that is not self-empowerment. And then you finally pick yourself up because you brought everything out to the surface and you've exposed it. You shed a light on it, in a sense. So therefore, because you shed a light on it, that you brought it out into the open at the forefront, you're allowing it to be doused in the Shekinah glory of God's source energy. And you see where you could use your energy in a more positive way, where you could use your energy in a sensible way. Where is your energy needed? It's just about asking the right question, believing to the point you know, and knowing that you have enough cosmic energy and cosmic abundance to receive. Everybody take a deep breath. Exhale. Take another deep breath. Exhale. Take another deep breath. Exhale. Every breath you take, every step that is made, we all know that it is a brand new day. It is a reset button. It is redemption. It's a way to learn how to not enable, but to allow everybody to be able to tap into their will, tap into their prosperity, tap into their true aligned energy, their true aligned frequency. Allow yourself to be comfortable with who you are. Allow yourself to walk in the anointing. To be able to live your life. And to not always just experience consequences. To live your life as if there weren't any consequences. Live your life without fear. Without struggle, and to not attract resistance to yourself, to everyone in your life, to allow yourself to play with your world, because you are the gamer within your world. You are the video game itself. You're the world that you're experiencing, the appearances, the manifestations, because you made it appear. You made the awareness of light. You let it come out to the open so that everything could be here and now as a projection of enlightenment. As a projection of the illusion of God. Because You are God in human form. Subtract what you need to subtract. Allow what needs to be here, and allow yourself to be present and relevant to everything that is good and wonderful in your life. And all the rest of the stuff, you can just put it in a ball of energy and send it back to the sun and let it go. Let go every day, surrender every day. Heal every day, because every day you're being healed and revamped and upgraded. You're like an iPhone that's just being updated. And there's brand new apps, and there's brand new features. There's brand new ways that you can use your camera, in a sense. So think of your upgrades, your moments where you're elevating the energy as if it was an update on an iPhone. That you're able to call faster, that you're able to text and type faster, that you're able to speak into the phone and it types itself. Because you're just playing with different configurations of energy. It's just the mechanics of the metaphysical. And you're just the compass that is exploring north, east, south, and west. The dial's always turning. And more, every day you just take steps. You trust the process. You enjoy the ride. You enjoy the journey itself. You allow yourself to love without condition. You allow yourself to love without condition. You allow yourself to be free, to have the power to have will, to not be afraid, to hold your head up high, and just walk as if you have the undoubtedly blessing of God's source energy on your life. And nothing can disrupt that. And so it is. That was the meditations, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you all so much for being a part of this live feed. And also, thanks for all the people who don't like this live feed too. It's okay. there's enough love. So book a private session. Feel free to share out. Feel free to make a private session, $60 for an hour. Also, you can go to my YouTube channel, White Wolf the Oracle, Love, Light, and Wisdom. Instagram, whitewolf4741. Also, BitChute, White Wolf the Oracle 23_@. Thank you guys so much. I was blessed to be in your guys' lives and also being a part of my meditation. So thank you guys so much. God bless. And namaste. If I can turn off the live.